Okay, here we go. Everybody, welcome to the first and hopefully not the last installment of a weekly or a bi-weekly game podcast, depending on when I have time, called the ShadyCast because my Xbox gamer tag is Shady9XD and I'm just that creative. Basically, I'm just gonna sit down every week, every 2 weeks, and discuss a bunch of shit happening in games, news, new releases, reviews, you name it. Just kind of not to bundle it all up. I will still write for joyblind.com where you can read a lot of this stuff in depth, but this is kind of an opportunity to discuss it not just by myself but with other people. I'll get other people on board as we go, and today we do have a guest, close friend of mine, Andrew, also known as Citizen Chips. Well, Snips, but we do change his name around as it goes, and he is a friend of mine. He is also a gamer. As you guessed, Citizen Snips is his gamer tag, and he is also very known online as a competitive MK player. Interesting fact for all you nerds out there. Welcome, dear sir.
Hey man, what's up? Thanks for having me on here.
You are now free to say shit as you like, willingly. But yeah, a little background on both of us. We're both, I guess we're both competitive MK players. We've both been to tournaments. But we also both like a lot of other games. We've bonded over our love for Mass Effect.
Yes.
Which almost cost us friendship with another one of our friends who called the first overrated. I think a lot of foolishness was said that day when he said
Yep.
Alright, so kind of just straight jump into it. We're gonna start talking about a few games that have already been out because it is the fall, and I wish I could have started this earlier because, you know, we got Gears, we got Rage, we got Dark Souls, we got Dead Island, but nobody gives a shit about that game. Well, not true, some people might. And I guess the big one is Gears, so like, I'll throw it out first to you. I mean, I know you haven't played it yet, but are you planning on getting that game? Has it had you excited? Do you see yourself playing it?
Man, to be honest, I never really got into Gears. I've only played the first one for a bit, so I don't know, I never really got onto the hype train of Gears, but I know lots of people like it. The trailers look really good. I mean, I'm sure it's a really good game, I just never really got into it.
Well, yeah, it's the big seller for the Xbox. I mean, if you think Xbox, you think Halo, then you think Gears of War. But I feel like it's the kind of game that doesn't reach as many people as Halo does.
Yeah.
Just because, like, Halo's been around for a while. Like, Halo's been the big shit, and then Gears came in, and it's like, well, I do want to know how this trilogy ends. Like, I picked it up and I played it, and like, I can say it's a really good game, but it's really good looking. It's got a lot of like gameplay. It's not really innovation, but more in terms of like refinement from the previous titles. But at the same time, it's like it doesn't necessarily bring anything new to the table that keeps me wanting to go back. Like, I finished the story, like I know how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, beyond multiplayer, I just don't see it. Like, I guess there is multiplayer, but it's just, you know, nothing but shotgun battles all day with just, I don't know. I guess that's the big draw for it, but I mean, it's interesting to see that you're not excited because, like, when something like Halo comes out and Modern Warfare, I mean, everybody you talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I'll still get it, like, even though, like, I don't really like it, but this I guess is a good example that Gears is, like, just gonna end and nobody really would give that much of a shit if next one didn't come out. You know.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, how's the multiplayer?
Sorry, you cut out there for a second, but I guess I can judge your question about it. Was multiplayer?
Yeah, like, is it like casual friendly or?
I think it's a little less casual friendly in terms of like, people would say it's tactical, but I say bullshit to that. It's basically close the distance and then just, you know, start firing shotguns, whether it be a sawed-off, which is a one-hit kill, and is quickly making its way up the list of the most bullshit weapons in video games. Or it's just like run around strafing and just shooting off the shotgun without really even hard aiming or doing any kind of aiming, just kind of hoping you hit somebody. Like, people say it's tactical, and I can see that aspect of it if you play with, say, 5-on-5, and like you're with a party of 5 that people know what they're doing and together. But if like it's 3 of you and then there's 2 randoms in the party and then you see this guy run at you and you put like 5 shotgun bullets at him before he gets to you and he doesn't die and he just shoot you once with the sawed off and you die, you're just like, well, that takes away the competitive edge from it. I don't know.
Okay.
Like a lot of people like it, but every time I see like competitive Gears Online game, it's like, it's just a clusterfuck. It's just like get into a closed space, guard that, anybody comes in, shoot the shotgun. Like,
yeah, actually, I want to ask you something about the shotgun, because like I hear a lot of people complaining about it. And have you played Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you remember how like the model?
Shit, you're cutting out again, man. Like, this has got technical difficulties on here, but I'm gonna get him to repeat the question.
The models in Modern Warfare 2. Do you remember how people were complaining about that?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, people always complain about something in every game. It's just like, I think the biggest thing about the sawed off here is that like, they did say after the beta, they did say it's gonna be like, melee range, so like, if you can't hit him physically, it won't kill him. But it's definitely not been an issue, like, as long as you're within 1 or 2 steps, and they're on your screen, like, they occupy 70%, like, in a specific 70% zone of your screen, like, you will pretty much kill them. So like, there's not that aspect to the fact that it's just like, you know, you have to aim, or you have to like think about how to get close. All you have to do is just kind of run at them, and once you're there, it's as easy as just hitting the right trigger.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the gun's gonna stay that way, or like?
Oh well, I heard they're patching it. I heard it is now melee range. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't exactly been getting back into Gears because, like I said, for me, multiplayer, like, I'm excited, like, I would have been excited to do the Horde, and I would have been excited to kind of do that survival level once or twice. But for me, personally, that game doesn't have legs just because I'm not the biggest fan of multiplayer. I don't see myself replaying the story again because there's no element to it that I missed.
Yeah.
I'm not an achievement hunter to get all the collectibles, so I feel like I've pretty much gotten all out of the Gears I could. It's still a really good game. It still deserves an 8.5 to a 9, which is pretty much what it's been getting. I think it's averaged like 91%. But at the same time, it's not the game that I see myself coming back to over and over and over and over again.
Alright.
Like we have been. We got a few other new releases coming, like that just came out. I actually got a chance to play Rage today.
Oh, you did?
Finally another game from id Software. And I do have to say, that game does look amazing, but it really isn't anything special. Like, it's really good. Like, the shooting mechanics are amazing. And graphically, it's probably one of the best games out there, but at the same time, it's like, it's very linear. It's not, like, the story is pretty much absent, but the gunplay is so fun that it just pretty much makes up for everything. Like, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Like, I remember seeing trailers like a while ago, and it kind of looked like it was going to be like Borderlands. Is it kind of similar to that, or?
Well, they kind of like the trailers, and that's what I think the problem with a lot of people that are having with this game is they kind of came through with the trailers, and it's like, oh, it's like a mix of Borderlands and Fallout, which in a way it does have some of its own, but really it's not. Like, it doesn't have that many RPG elements. Like, you do upgrade your weapons, but you're not really in control of the story, you're not really in control of the character. There is not as much, like, stats that come into consideration, kind of like Borderlands did, and there's not that much weapons. Like, it's a fairly linear game, whereas Borderlands was kind of like more of an open world thing. Like, it is open world when you get in a car, but once you're in these shooting levels, once you're in a dungeon, it's very close. It's very linear, you know exactly where you need to go. But I will give it this, and like, this is a comparative to Gears. Like, in Gears, every gunfight you kind of progress to, like, oh, you clear out the room, and then you go into the next room, and there's like a bunch of chest-high walls there, and you're just like, well, I gotta press A, get up against the wall, kill those enemies, hear that little guitar riff, and move on. Whereas in Borderlands, every fight, and I've actually reloaded a save because I was so surprised by this. Every fight, like, the enemies behave so differently. Like, they won't just run at you in a straight line. They'll, like, dodge and weave and duck and, like, get around obstacles. And I think, like, that's one of the biggest things that they've brought is this, like, dynamic AI behavior. Whereas I feel like it's not, you know, press your back against the wall and just sit there until everybody dies. It's more like you actually have to like outsmart and outmaneuver these people. And it's really fun. Like the gunplay is very tight and it kind of makes up for a lot of its flaws. But the game probably did get killed by the fact that it had a lot of hype with like in terms of being id Software's first game in a while, and like people expected like Borderlands and Fallout, which wasn't. And like that's what I think will turn a lot of people off, is because it's not what they expected, but it's still like in its own right a very good game.
Yeah.
But multiplayer modes are actually pretty interesting. It's like Mario Kart with like Fallout environment. Man, Mario Kart was awesome.
Yes, I love Mario Kart.
But yeah, like I mean, you haven't played Rage, but you said you've seen the trailer. So what were your impressions? Just kind of like, because I might clear that up for you if you have just in the game.
A lie. To me, Rage, I kind of lost track of it. Like, I know that all these games were coming out in the fall, and to be honest, Rage wasn't really something I was looking forward to too much. I remember that my initial impressions were like, it's going to be like Borderlands, but I guess from hearing things about it that, you know, some people let down, so, I mean,
Fair enough. Sorry, you kind of got cut out again after people getting let down.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It wasn't really a game I was thinking of necessarily getting, but...
Oh yeah, it's kind of one of those games that like if you don't expect it and you weren't exactly waiting for it, it's kind of hard for like justify buying it, because there's just so much great stuff coming up, which we'll go about later in this show. But like, I don't know. My biggest question is like, did they put Blake Griffin in the game? Like, I actually feel like I'm gonna go rent this game now and just play it through it, just because I'm interested if Blake Griffin actually made it into Rage, and if he gets to dunk on someone. Like, it's a very big question that no review has answered yet. Like, I've looked at every review and I was like, how can you, like, I know the NBA is on lockout, but how can you omit such a glaring fact? Like, the inquisitive minds want to know. Alright, we're kind of gonna wrap this up with another game and this game has been really, I guess, polarizing in terms of like people either love it or they hate it. But you mentioned earlier that you thought it looked interesting, and it's Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of like, did you get a chance to check out Demon Souls, or like lack of a PS3 just prevented you completely from doing that?
Yeah, I actually don't have a PS3, so Demon Souls. I've read about it though, and like that's one of those games I really wish I had a PS3 for. But
well, now you can, because Dark Souls on the 360, so you can jump on and pick it up.
Yeah. I saw some gameplay of Dark Souls and it looked pretty badass. Like, I don't know. I think these games.
Sorry, what do you think about these games again?
I mean, I think it's like really good how they like deviate from the norm. Like, it's not a shooter, it's not a fighter, it's not your typical hack and slash. So like, these like games end up being like gems, and that's what really interested me about it.
Well, it's pretty cool too, and like I remember this from playing Demon Souls, and like I did play Dark Souls when it came out for first day, because like there's the game shop where I go to most of the time. They have a game room in the back where you pay like $5 and you can play for the full day.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of do that to check out the games I can't afford. And I got to play it, and like I can see why a lot of people like either love it or hate it, is because like it's absolutely unforgiving. Like, I'm an old school gamer guy, and like I really like games to challenge me, but now it's like you trip over a rock, ooh, checkpoint. Like, whereas Dark Souls, it really works you. Like, it's at the point like you don't have a manual, you don't have instructions. Like, there is some things that you have to do that you pretty much have to figure out on your own. And it's like you come into these enemies and then you'll get absolutely raped. Like, they will fucking gang up on, like, it's a game where you have to fight one-on-one, but there are situations where you just can't.
Yeah.
Like, these enemies will absolutely gang rape you. And you'll be, like, it'll be so frustrating. Like, for the first 3 to 4 hours, I felt like I was getting nowhere, because, later I found out I was taking an optional way to, like, a harder area of the first level.
Oh shit.